guys. Welcome to our first ever podcast of the Defensive Guys. I'm your host, Zach Wilkerson. With me today is my co-host and good friend, Ricky Coon. Ricky, what's going on, man?
Oh, not too much. Just excited to finally get this thing off the ground and ready to talk some football.
Absolutely, man. It's been a long time coming. Today's podcast, we're going to talk about a little about ourselves, introduce ourselves to everybody, let everybody know who we are, talk the importance of scheme and what we run and why we run it. But first, let's get started with our sponsor. We got our first sponsor. Coach Pad makes this possible. Are you a coach who still prints off a stack of templates and draw your scout cards by hand, or do you use a program on a computer that allows you to create them? Coach Pad will save you time by never printing paper and stuff in a binder again. Coach Pad allows you to clearly display scout cards outdoors in bright sun and has been a game changer for programs on the weekend prep, on the practice field, and even on game day, syncing diagrams from the press box to the sideline. Click below in the description. You'll find a link to Coach Pad, but thank you to those guys for making this thing possible. All right, we'll get started. First thing we want to do is kind of just give you an overview of who we are, what we're about. So, Coach Coon, I'm going to let you start us off, man. Tell us about yourself.
Well, currently I'm the defensive coordinator at Southeast Missouri State University. We're a Division I FCS school in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and going on year 7. Second stint. Was there for 5 years, 2014 through 2018, and then I left for 3 to be a head football coach at Dodge City Community College. After going through that and having my head re-examined, I decided to come back to SEMO and just love it. Love our head coach and the community, and so just excited to be here. Had a phenomenal year last year. We were 9-3, won the conference, lost in the first round of the playoffs, unfortunately. Had a great year on defense. We led the conference in all the important categories, and obviously we had a lot of good players in that. But excited to get this next season started soon. Career-wise, I've coached every level of college football except for Division III and then FBS, and so I've been everywhere in between. Been a lot of different places, learned a lot of different things. So excited to do this and kind of give back to the coaching community a little bit.
Awesome. Awesome. Yep. Yeah. I mean, you go back quite some time. Me and Ricky coached together going on over 10 years ago now.
Twice.
Twice. Yeah. Twice. Yeah. Once in Missouri and once in Mississippi. So,
One and a half,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. So, but my name is Zach Wilkerson. I'm the defensive coordinator at Simmons University. It's a Division III program in Abilene, Texas. We've had quite some success over the years. I've been here going on season number 10 for me. It's a great place to be, a great place to coach. We have a great head coach that sets the culture and the standards of the university and the program. We've had a lot of success over the years. Since 2015, we've given up 15 points a game on defense. And so we've got some great players that do an unbelievable job just handling their business and going about things the right way. And so I'm glad to be here and share our story and kind of build this community. So the first topic that we're going to talk about today is what the heck are we doing, Ricky? I don't know. You go take it away. What are we doing?
Well, first of all, I ask myself that question a lot in life, but especially in coaching. But this is something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and you and I have talked about for a long time. I think is with technology the way it is today, there's a lot going on. There's too much going on. Obviously, there's a lot of different contents out there, football wise, and obviously you and I have both been a part of those. But this is an opportunity, I think, to just continue to give back to the game and give back to coaches. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing, was taking phone calls and emails and visiting with coaches and collaborating. And so, this is a way to do it. And I guess for for me to be a part of choosing the topics that we talk about. I get probably an email, a phone call, or a text message a day, guys asking for something that I've talked about either at a clinic or they've heard about or whatever it is. And so uh, really it's just a way to continue to give back to coaches and kind of control the content and work with a friend. Zach and I have known each other for a long time, and it's been good to talk football with other people.
Awesome. But no, it's been a blast. Like I said, we've known each other quite some time, and this is things we've done for free, and to be able to, communicate and share our ideas and our thoughts and philosophies to other staffs across the country. And now it's a chance for us to share it and really make it more of a global thing, and hopefully get some listeners in the process and get them joined in and create a little family atmosphere here and make this a fun weekly podcast and be able to talk about a lot of different subjects. We'll have some offense guys, defense guys, special teams guys, strength coaches, whatever. Get some um, people on board to help us promote this thing. So again, appreciate you jumping on board with me. We do have a Twitter page, so please go and follow us. It's at the defensive guys. So that's a big part of it, trying to draw that experience there as well. This podcast will also be uploaded on YouTube as well, so you can follow us there on our YouTube page at the defensive guys. Makes it pretty simple. And then you can also follow myself at Coach Wilkerson and Ricky Coon at Coach R Coon. So we'd love to see you on Twitter as well. Trying to keep some dialogue going there. But it's gonna be a great experience. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and ready for the journey.
Yeah, no, I think one of the biggest things is people understand is that these are our thoughts. It's things that I believe in, things that you believe in. So everybody may not agree, and that's okay. That's also part of the show. It's part of the reason why sometimes you don't agree with something, but you hear somebody's side of it, and it makes you think about it a little more. And maybe you adopt something, maybe you don't. Maybe it makes you believe in what you do even more. But all these things that we're going to talk about over the next several months are things that are totally objective. There's no right or wrong answers, but we're excited to do it.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's dive into our next subject, and that is scheme important? Everyone always talks about what we run and why we run it. And so, my first question to you then, we'll start off is scheme important? And if so, why?
Yeah, I think ultimately uh, it's important to have a sound scheme. It's important to have a system. It's important to not just run things to run things. You need to have a reason. There needs to be a system in place, like I said. But at the end of the day, uh, what scheme you run really isn't important. You know, People win running different schemes, right? Like 4-3, 4-2, 3-3, 3-4. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. Okay, if there was one way to do it, we would all do it that way. Okay, and so I believe that fundamentals matter more than scheme. Okay, so the how to do it more than the what to do. And so when I say that, I'm talking about defensively speaking, just fundamentals like how to track a hip, how to take a ball away, how to read a block, how to get off a block, how to get your eyes, all the little bitty things. And one thing we say at SEMO is, it's kind of on my T-shirt here, is little things make the big things. And so all those little pieces, those fundamentals, are going to make whatever scheme we're doing uh, work. Okay, and if we don't do those little things, it doesn't matter what scheme we run; it's not going to work. Okay, and so at the end of the day, you got to have a sound scheme. You got to have a system, but the fundamentals are much more important than what that system is, in my opinion.
I agree. I do agree. Um, there's a ton of different schemes out there, and everyone's got their own little system. Here we're a 4-3 team, and we utilize our 3-man front as our sub package. And so, I always tell guys that want to get in the coaching world and be coordinators is my number one advice is create an identity. Create an identity. May have something that you can hang your hat on. You got to make sure your kids can buy in and have success in whatever you're doing, and it's got to be sound. The hardest thing you're going to have as a coach is getting your kids to buy into what you're selling. And once you get that in, the culture kind of takes over from there. It is about the Jimmies and the Joes. If you've got good players, you're going to have a chance to be successful. Now, it's still your job as a coach to put those guys in the best situation to be successful. And that's where, different philosophies on scheme and structure come in. And, that's the great thing about football. There's a dozen ways to skin a cat, and no one's coming up with anything new. Everything we do, we stole from somebody else somewhere along the line. And I always tell it, coaches are good thieves, man. We borrow and take and, try to adapt to make it our own and keep moving on. And so, I know over the years, me and you both have changed schemes quite some, from where we started to where we're at today. We both use 4-2-5 guys, and obviously now you're a 3-4 guy and we're 4-3. But it's the just the journey of it. Every year you're trying to evaluate yourself and figure out, what can you do better the next year to improve upon, and also what can your kids do. A lot of it for us is dictated by what kind of kids we have. The personnel that we have here is going to dictate what we do schematically. And so, when we have more man cover guys, we can play more man coverage, and we have more zone cover guys, then we'll live in more zone coverage. And so, awesome. So, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think something you said is really important, and we're in a position where we get to choose our players, which is awesome, right? And so, a lot of coaches out there in the high school level or whatever lower levels, they don't get to choose their players, and so scheme selection might be more important to them because they have these type of players, and so their systems may change from year to year. If I'm a high school coach, I might be a 3-4 guy this year, I might be a 4-3 guy next year, I might be a 3-3 guy the next year, and it's really because of they don't get to pick their players, and that's okay. Okay, and so like you said, put your kids in position to be successful, but also realize that it's all relative. They're also, lots of high schools aren't playing against, size wise, the type of guys that we're playing against. And so, so there's a lot of ways to do it. So I totally understand guys that change schemes from year to year because of talent level and the guys that they have. I don't at our level. I don't think we do that as much. We may just, we have a system and we pick the pieces of that system that utilize the current players we have more. But obviously, if the most important thing is do what your kids can do at a high level and clear mind, fast legs. Make them play fast and everything will work out.
Absolutely. Less is more. And so
Absolutely,
we're going to
no
move on
doubt.
to the topic of point today. And that is, Ricky, kind of go through, what's base football for you guys? What do you base in? Why do you base out of it? And just what's base football?
I think our base defense is a 3-4. Okay, we're a what you call a bear front or a tight front. If you're a 3-4 guy, you've heard the word tight front. The way we do it is a little bit unique. We're not as many heavy four eyes and four techniques like a lot of tight front guys are. We're more three techniques and loose four eyes, and so that's a little bit different. It's a little bit unique. We utilize a lot of man coverages. Cover four is our base coverage. At the end of the day, to me, cover four is just a man coverage. It's a loose man coverage, okay? And so that's our base defense, okay? With that being said, we're probably in that personnel nowadays less than 50%, okay? Because offensives have become so multiple, we have to be multiple, okay? And so we're a 3-4 base, but we have five DBs, we have six DBs, we have three DBs, whatever it is, you have to be multiple enough to combat whatever you see. So, in our nickel personnel, which is our 5 DB personnel, that's kind of become our favorite personnel. We can still give a 3-4 look, okay? And so I think having the ability to be in different personnel groupings, but have the power to give those same looks as your base uh, personnel is the most important. So in our nickel package, our 5 DB package, okay, we can be in a 3-4, we could be in a 4-2, we could be in a 4-3, we could be in a 3-3. We can do whatever we want out of that package, and it's a really big menu, which is good, but it's also bad because you can't do all that stuff in a game. You have to choose out what you can do, but it makes it hard to defend because offenses just don't know what they're going to see from snap to snap, and so we're a 3-4 base, but we do a lot of other things also as part of our system.
Awesome. And who do you look to study? Who do you guys like to look at in the off season? Uh, clinic with, whatever it may be.
For me, a big one has been a lot of NFL teams. So the New England Patriots ran a fair amount of the 3-4 the way that we do it. Dave Aranda, when he was at LSU and Wisconsin, and now at Baylor, they do a fair amount of it. Georgia and Alabama, those are probably the most places that we look at that do the things that we do, and you have kind of seen over time how they've morphed into more of what we are doing because of all the athletes and the multiplicity of offenses. They've had to do the same things too, and so we study. Those are the main teams that we study, and always try to find something new. What are we missing? What do we need to be better?
Awesome. Well, here we've talked about this a lot, but here at Hardin Simmons, we're a 4-3 defense. That's what we're going to base out of, and it's the same principles that you just talked about. We're going to be extremely multiple in what we do. Our philosophy is multiplicity with simplicity. We want to look like we do a lot, but at the end of the day, we're going to make sure our kids can play fast and not to be thinking on the field. I think that's highly important. For us, we're going to base out of match cover three and a lot of Tampa too. That's what we're going to try to live out of. Up front, we're a big gap team. A lot of teams are either going to be a single gap team or a two gap team. We're gonna ask our guys to do a lot of two gapping, and with that comes that cap kids we recruit. We like size up front. We talked about this a lot, but it's hard to move big people. If you can get big guys up front, you can eat gaps, and the reason I like that is with the 4-3 and be able to get to nickel to get into a 4-2 and be able to get to what we call your penny package, where you get to a 3-3 defense. You've got to be able to have ways to be able to play with lighter boxes these days, and especially with the offenses spreading out like they do and the tempo they do. You've got to be creative in the run fits. And so, the old days of lining up against 21 personnel and 12 personnel and having a 9-man box, those days, I don't know if they're coming back. Offense
Well,
faster than defense. And so defenses are having to play catch up right now to, find ways to shut these guys down. They're doing a good job on the other side with the running back, running the quarterback all the time, RPOs all the time. And so for us, we've got to be able to have things in our toolbox that allows us to have success. And so, kind of like what you said, you're going to have a big menu box. You're going to have a big toolbox that you're going to want to utilize, but you don't take all those tools in every game. Those tools are going to be used by game plan. We're going to have the base structure of what we're going to be and our identity of who we're going to be. But we want to make sure that if a team's running power or RPO or quarterback counter read, that we have options in our toolbox that when we know it's coming, we can get a tackle for loss. We have a chance to stop that. So, um, yeah, so I mean, we talked, and I'm trying to draw you on the other side. We've been talking a lot of Tampa too, and we run a lot of it, and I'm trying to turn you from all the man stuff, but it's fun. We gotta bounce a lot of ideas off each other and keep going.
well, I think for years, Zach and I worked together. We were both 4-2-5 guys per se, even front guys, and that's kind of how we came together. And And back in those days, that's what a lot of people were doing. You were studying the Gary Pattersons of the world who were doing that at a high level, and it was fine, and it's still good. It's still good stuff. But obviously, as you grow as a coach, you learn different things. And for me, after being in the 3-4 this long, I would never go back to basing out of an even front. It's just because I'm a stop the run first guy, and that'll probably never change. Even though sometimes, some weeks, you're playing a passing team. At the end of the day, you still have to stop. If you can eliminate the run phase from a team, I believe that you're in business. If they can't run the football, even those passing teams, they can throw it for 500 yards, but when they get it down in the red zone, if they can't run the ball, they're in trouble. And so everything we do is built to stop the run first. Okay, I will say if they are a passing team, and they don't like to run the football, we're going to play a light box and invite them to run the football. So when we want to make them try to run it, okay. And so I think something for me is, if a team is a throwing team and we're making them run the football, we win. At the end of the day, and we're making them do something they're not comfortable doing. And I think that's an important piece of your scheme is what type of offense are you seeing? What do they like to do? And how can you make them do something else? If you're out there playing with six DBs and you're playing, drop eight and those kind of things, they're going to have to run the football if they're smart. They're going to have to. And if they're not able to do that, they're probably not going to be successful. Vice versa, if they're out there and there's still teams out there that'll get in 12 and want to run the football. And if they're out there wanting to do that, then you've got to load the box and make them throw it and make them win matchups. And so I think if I've learned anything through the years, it's that you just have to match up to whatever scheme that you're seeing. And just because I would never go back to basing out of an even front, that doesn't mean that I don't think there's value in it, and we still do it from time to time.
Awesome. Yep. And that's a big part when you go into game plan mode. You're talking about the offenses you're going to face throughout the course of the season. Our big saying is make the offense beat you left-handed. Find out what are they good at. Everyone's going to have an identity, and if you're facing somebody that doesn't have an identity, they're probably not going to be very good. But they're going to have something they're going to try to have their stamp on and who they are. And so if that's an air raid team, we've played teams that are they don't want to run the football. They want to throw the football because it looks good in the stat sheet. That'll be a week that we'll be in our three-man front stuff and have more DBs on the field and be able to try to take those quick throws away and force the offense to drive and run the ball. And the same thing, you have a team that's going to be a big run team. You better be in your base defense and have ways to stop the run and do the things that you need to do. And, I'm a true believer that I love situational football. I think that's what football is about. If you play everything as first and second down, it's a long day at the office. You got to be able to break everything down to players. And I always tell our guys that's the reason why you have inside run. That's the reason why you have 7-on-7. It's the reason why you have one-on-ones as drills. You have to take those drills and apply them to where they fit in the game. If it's 3rd and 15, you're playing 7-on-7. You don't need to stop the run. If it's 3rd and 1, you're playing inside run. There's a reason why offensive coaches get mad at us defensive guys when we're playing inside run and and no one's respecting the pass. Well, there's not a threat of the pass. As much as you want to tell those guys, you got to trust your reads and do those things. So it is a big part of it, and we'll break that down in a future podcast, talking about scenarios and situations and how we go about trying to attack those. But is there anything else that you want to hit on as far as scheme goes? And one thing I will add, one group one team we like to study. Northwest Missouri State, Coach Wright and their staff do a phenomenal job. We went up there, I guess, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. They kind of introduced us to the 4-3 cover 3 world and quarters world, which we've run quarters for a long time, but we really made a big switch to cover 3 probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and it made a huge difference in what we do. And as the course gone on, we've now made a transition to more of Tampa 2 as well. and seeing the teams that do that with North Dakota State's the world. And so there's a lot of film out there, NFL wise and college wise, you can get your hands on, and some awesome coaches out there to help you along the way. So that's one thing we're trying to build here is just a community where we can share and bounce ideas amongst each other and try to see what fits. And the biggest advice I give people is when you're studying other programs, it's hard to implement everything they do. You got to make it your own. See what fits you, and make it your scheme. Make it your identity of what you want to do. And so if you try to, you know, make everything what somebody else does, sometimes that gets difficult.
Well, I think, something that we all fight is that we get comfortable, you know, if we do something long enough, you get comfortable with it, right? Like we were a 4.25 for however many years, and you get comfortable doing that, and you know it inside and out, and you feel like, you can conquer the world in it. But I think as time goes on, you have to learn that sometimes you have to tweak and you do have to change a little bit, and so you and I have talked a lot about Tampa 2, for example. We play I'm so stubborn with quarters and man that I needed to find a way to get our DBs a break sometimes, and we've adopted some of the Tampa 2 stuff, and it's helped. It's in our third down percentage, I think, it's been good. It's helped, and it's also given our secondary a chance to breathe. And so, that's something where I encourage, everybody out there to really look at what you're doing. And if you just don't be too stubborn, right? We're all stubborn, but don't be stubborn enough to not be willing to not necessarily change, but just adjust and maybe adopt something that's going to number one, make your players happy, right? Because if they like to do it, they're going to be better at it. Um, but it's going to make the team better, and so that's something, I think you've adopted some of the bare front stuff a little bit. We've adopted some of the zone coverage stuff a little bit, and I think it's helped both of our units be more successful.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know,
Uh, And so, well, with that, guys, we're going to start to wrap up our show today. Man, thank you guys for joining in with us. This is going to be a weekly thing. We're going to drop this every Friday. If and go on our Twitter page, um, go on there, and if there's things that you want to see on here, let us know. Leave us feedback, things that you liked about the episode, things that you didn't like about the episode, and things you want to see, and people guests that you'd like us to have on, because that'll be the next step with this phase is finding guys that can come on here and help talk ball with everybody and keep building that community and those relationships and see where this thing goes.
yeah,
So,
no, I agree. I'm excited about this, and we're willing to talk about whatever. That's why we're here, and just excited to go on this adventure and make people better.
absolutely. Well, guys, hey, if you like this episode, please hit the like button below for the on YouTube, and please subscribe to us as well. That's a big part of it, trying to grow this thing. And thanks again to Coach Pad for making this thing possible. That's our first sponsor. Hey,
Yeah,
really first, and we'll keep that thing going. So appreciate
it's
you, man.
that's Jason Kazar there at Coach Pad. Him and I have known each other for a long time. It's a great product. I've toyed with it a little bit, and it takes the paper out of the game, and for us old dogs, it's hard to go from the paper scout cards and all that stuff, but it's pretty awesome. So I definitely encourage you guys to check it out. It's a great product.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with us today. We'll see you back next week, and so look forward to talking ball again. So see you guys later.